Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago and beyond. This is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. Today is December 4th. Did you bust out your advent calendar, Cecil?
Only if it's full of booze. There was a couple years that Heath got us.
Heath got us
whiskey advent calendars. Those are pretty dope.
Those were awesome.
Those are pretty dope.
We drank a lot of them live.
And they would come in these little tiny bottles and you give it a taste. You're like, oh, and there was like all kinds of different types of whiskey in there. Pretty solid.
Yeah, there was solid. It was actually a great way to try things and be like, I love that. I'll buy a bottle and I will avoid that and never spend money.
Somebody said there's a Malort one.
Holy shit, are you serious?
Somebody said there's a Malort.
Are you serious?
Calendar. And I'm like, don't tell me there's Malort in every drawer, because that's disgusting.
Are there different flavors of Malort?
I think so.
Can you get like peppermint Malort?
That's like being like, is there a different flavor of mop bucket water? No. I mean, it's like what you mopped up.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, like one of them might be cherry jelly flavored.
Well, I put a rosemary sprig in it. Why don't you want to drink it?
One of them's bathroom urine flavored. Like, yeah, it's sure. Okay.
Oh my God.
All of it tastes better than Malort, though.
Oh, dude, I would rather drink the mop bucket water from a fucking Greyhound bus station bathroom than Malort. Maybe that's not true.
That's probably not true.
That's really awful.
That's probably not true.
I mean, like a lot of Malort.
Yeah.
You know, I really enjoyed working for the CIA. Can't wait to move back home and work at fucking Sonic.
All right, so this is a big story. NBC News. Suspect in D.C. shooting of National Guard members pleads not guilty to murder. The gentleman could be seen on a video feed lying in a hospital bed as he made an initial court appearance. So this is a pretty huge story, and I'm curious what your thoughts on this are, Cecil.
Yeah, so the National Guard has been stationed in Washington, D.C. for a while.
A long while.
At this point, guys, it's months at this point. There was two National Guard people standing somewhere. A person came up, shot both of them, was apprehended relatively quickly afterwards. One of them died of their injuries later. Another one that I think is still in serious condition.
I think so, yeah. That's
so
what I read.
not even released yet. And this has been over a week old story, so it's a while that this happened. This
gravely injured.
Very, very injured. Maybe never recover, possibly never recover. And this person is an Afghan national. They came here on a sort of program to help people who helped us during the war.
Yep.
And they were started to get their processing at a certain point in the past. It was in, after 2020 some point. And then they just applied for asylum and they were accepted for asylum during Trump's term. And I think that's really important to remember that they were accepted then. And Trump's cabinet, Trump's administration wants to have they don't want any blame for this.
Yeah, they want no culpability.
They want none whatsoever. What they're saying is it's none of what they were just doing what someone else had done ahead of them. Well, if that's the case, well, then we can't blame Biden for what happened in Afghanistan because he was just doing what was done ahead of him.
Sure.
If that's the case, you can't blame Biden for any of that stuff that happened in Afghanistan. But in any case, this person is someone who came here. They're not sure the motive yet. Very initially, of course, this was a leftist, a dangerous leftist, et cetera, et cetera. And all that stuff has died down.
None of that.
Once that sort of once we've sort of seen who they were working for, how they were working for them, they're essentially part of our military. They sort of changed their whole tune. Now suddenly it's very, very quiet about the whole thing. But really, what it did was it allowed the Trump administration to then go after very specific sectors of immigration, asylum, again, sort of tightening the screws on our already heartless policy.
Absolutely.
And it's been a disgusting display because what it does is it paints everybody in that asylum procedure as somebody who's a possible murderer.
Yeah.
Because what they do is they paint with a broad brush when one person does something wrong. And that's why that's the problem with, being an immigrant. It's a problem with being a black and brown person in our country is they get picked as something bad happened. It's not like, there isn't a bunch of white people that kill each other all the time.
But then that demographic fact never counts.
Never counts.
Never counts when it's a white dude.
Never counts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of things that I've read and listened to a lot of stuff about this story. And there's a couple of things that I want to mention. So the first is that, and this is just my take, but like, it seems very clear to me that when we have military troops walking around on display on American soil, what we do to some degree is we create a very desirable target that would not otherwise exist. A desirable political target,
a
desirable military target that would not otherwise be available for people to attack, right? So what I mean by that is, generally speaking, our military is not visible on the streets. Yeah. They're doing their jobs. They're on bases. They're not sort of on full display.
Yeah, they're sequestered away. We don't. How often do you see somebody?
I never see somebody in military uniform. Yeah. So this creates opportunity. First of all, one of the things that happened after 9/11, we went to Afghanistan, is and fucking bin Laden said, "This is what you'll do," and then we did it anyway. Right? Is like, they came to us. It's very difficult for somebody far overseas to attack the United States because we're protected by oceans.
Yeah.
And then what we do is we then move a whole bunch of people to be closer to them where they can shoot at us. And we make it easier for them to kill us by doing that. It's very difficult when you're protected by an ocean for other people to come get you. When we put our troops on the streets, we are creating targets. So we are not making those people safer. We are putting those people every day at risk in order to get essentially no benefit. If you think of the whole National Guard thing in a risk-benefit calculus, there's no benefit. We're not getting anything out of it as a society. DC isn't any safer. DC isn't changed in any way. And what we've done is we've created a very target-rich environment for people who might want to do harm to us. So that's stupid. We probably shouldn't do that. From what I've read about the motive of this person was an Afghan national who was working with the CIA. The CIA needs, anytime, and this is part of why USAID was so important, anytime that we are in a conflict overseas, you have to have support on the ground. You need translators. You need people who know the geography. You need people who can put you in contact with, groups who might be sympathetic to your cause. It is essential that happens. People, I think, who don't understand that think that you just show up and then you start shooting the right people.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's not anything. Anybody who thinks that just doesn't know anything about anything. So this person was somebody who was working with the CIA in a capacity to help the United States in Afghanistan. And what happened, it sounds like, from things that I've read, that seem credible and credible news sources, is this person was very, very distressed by the violence that occurred against their countrymen and women. Because war is fucking distressing. And we don't do a good job taking care of people after we send them off to commit horrific acts of violence.
Yep.
And if you were to think about it in a non-military context, like if I just tomorrow saw somebody get, blown up on the street, nobody would think that I would be okay. Everybody would be like, that, you're probably gonna need some fucking therapy, right? You're gonna probably get some PTSD from that. That is, you are going to be changed as a person. We don't think of that as being essentially true for every person involved in a military conflict on any piece of it. When you have a moral culpability to death and to destruction and to harm, there are costs. There are mental, emotional, psychological costs that we have to accept that every person involved is going to pay. So this person comes into the United States as having engaged in that process, clearly having taken some damage in that process. But what I read is that they were radicalized while they were here. And that's a really important detail, because what Trump is doing is saying, hey, the Biden administration did not do a good job vetting the Afghans who came over here who helped us. So when we pulled out, if we didn't bring those people in, they were almost certainly going to be hunted down and killed by the Taliban, right? So you let them in. But if they were radicalized once they were here, we could not have pre-vetted what hadn't occurred yet.
We don't have the minority report.
Right.
You can't do that. Yeah.
So that's fucking complete nonsense. If you were to take a step back and look at this, you would say like, hey, what we should not do is engage in armed conflict unless we have an existential threat. Because every time we do that, we create a target-rich environment. We create people who will be damaged by war, because war is damaging to the people who have to commit war and who are the victims of war. We should be extremely cautious about uses of force like this, because they are damaging even to the people who help us or who win the war, whatever you want to say. But like, and then we got to be honest about like who we bring in. None of that's happening. All that's happening now is that Trump seizes on something like this to push forward his xenophobic agenda. It's really gross, man.
Yeah.
It's really fucked up.
Oh, and what we're doing is we're creating an existential threat for a very certain amount of people in our country.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're saying we should only do something when it's an existential threat. It's like if we don't pay attention, then we create the existential threat for the people who are walking on the street down in DC that shouldn't even be there.
Yeah. It doesn't like, to me, the use of military force when it is not absolutely warranted is like, it's similar to the idea of like concealed carry, right?
Yeah.
Remember when you and I concealed carried for a minute? Like I got my license, you got your license. For a minute, I carried my weapon with me, and I knew how much less safe that weapon made me.
Right, sure.
Anytime we're engaged in any kind of a military conflict that does not have an existential component to it, we're like, well, I have to do this. Ukraine right now is engaged in an existential conflict, right? World War II, clearly an existential. Anytime we are not in that type of a conflict, we're less safe. And we're less safe for years and years and years and years after.
Well, and what they did was they took, like you mentioned already, USAID. If you take that away, and then you don't have any of that outreach anymore, now you're just creating more and more and more ripples to now have more and more conflict in the world. It's just it's a bad call. They're doing everything they can to maybe create a forever war.
Yeah. I can't help but look at something like this and realize that all that we are doing is setting up all of the foundational building blocks necessary to create a lack of security.
Yeah.
Oh, you're tired and you want to go back to sleep? Yeah, well. Wake up! You said you were gonna wake up right now. You said you were allowed to wake you up now.
This is fucking great. CNN. Trump said he was sharper than I was 25 years ago. Then he spent an hour appearing to doze off again.
This article is so fucking snarky.
Oh,
it's so mean.
It so is.
And like as you read through it, there's so many pieces of it that are unbelievably snarky. So if you get a chance, take a look. I'll put his big dumb face on here so we can look at his big dumb face. But look at him fucking totally crashed out. He's 100% sleeping.
Dude, he's sleeping as fuck.
I know you, like I grew up, my dad, when we would have a big meal.
Yeah.
After it was over, would go to the couch and be watching football, and he would look exactly like Trump looked until the third quarter.
Yeah.
It would be a kickoff, and then my dad would fall asleep with a cigarette in his hand.
Oh my God.
He'd fall asleep.
Oh my
and then
God.
He'd wake up when it burned him. Diet out.
It's like a fucking alarm clock.
Diet out, and then he'd sit back, and then he'd slowly, just like ever so slowly, his eyes are starting to close. You're like, go to sleep,
dude.
Go to sleep. So
this is me when I tell Haley, like, yeah, I can watch another episode. Like, and she's like, very clearly you can't. She's like, you're obviously falling asleep. And I'm like, it's 8 o'clock. I'm exhausted.
But what is so interesting is the double standard, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody and their brother was talking about how impaired Biden was.
Mm-hmm.
Biden was so impaired. He's not doing anything. They talked about it incessantly.
Yeah.
That was literally
sleepy Joe Biden.
There was so much, and it wasn't just Trump. It was news outlets were talking about how fucking his health was declining, his mental acuity was declining, he's falling asleep, yada, yada, yada. He never had anything like this happen. Never had any. There was a moment in a climate thing where he kind of dozed, like it looked like he might have dozed off. Again, these guys, I'm okay with younger people being in this office.
Sure.
So I don't care that I'm not here to try to defend Biden's honor. Yeah. Biden may have fucking dozed off. He was an old guy. Absolutely. 100%. Trump, also an old guy. 100%.
Yep.
He is falling asleep. These are not people that we should consider seriously for what probably should be the toughest job in America.
Yes, 100%. But like, also remember that he fell asleep during a cabinet meeting. He's done it more than once. And he fell asleep specifically while everybody is going around the room talking about how great he is. This is like, imagine falling asleep while you have like a fucking team of people blowing you on TV.
All of them look like Marco Rubio.
Fall asleep out of self-defense. Fall asleep out of self-defense. Everybody's going around the room telling me how great I am, and I can't even stay awake for that.
I can't even stay awake for them to fluff me the entire time.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. If I come, wake me up.
I'll tell you though, it's just one of those things that it just feels like such a double standard. And I recognize that the media can't cover this in the same way that they could cover Biden when something like this would happen to him, mainly because Biden wasn't also lighting everything on fire every second of the day.
Absolutely.
So there's 20 different stories about Trump that you could find in a single day. And those 20 different stories, those are all different things that he's decided that he wants to bring up because he wants to get the spotlight off of other things that he's doing. And so there's a million things to talk about. And so this sort of thing gets pushed to the bottom. But really, people should be talking about this more and more, because the more you point out, I think, the things that are detriments, right? The more you point those things out, the better off I think America is.
Yeah.
If we can keep pointing them out over and over and over again. Because if you can even just weaken some of these people's ideas of what he is, you'll probably be good, because you've got to take the cult leader down eventually. Eventually, the cult leader has to either, maybe his own veins,
cheeseburgers,
are the things that eventually stop this. But eventually, the cult leader has to be stopped.
Yeah,
and the cult leader, if he stops himself, great. Or if you can get him out of office. And the way to do that is to weaken his support enough. And if people think he's weak, people think he's old, people think that's an important, and he recognized that by calling Joe Biden
100%.
and sleepy.
Yeah.
He recognized that.
Yeah. You can weaponize the failure here against him with the people.
Yeah.
And I do think that we're starting to see a lame duckism begin to creep into this administration.
A little bit. Yeah, I think so.
The Zen philosopher Basho once wrote, "A flute with no holes is not a flute, and a donut with no hole is a Danish." He's a funny guy.
This is from the Associated Press. Doctor says Trump had preventative screening MRI on heart and abdomen with perfectly normal results.
I love the way they report these all the time, as if Trump told them exactly what to say.
Say it's perfectly normal.
Say I aced it.
Now, if anyone asks you about my MRI, the answer is man, woman, dog, camera.
You just look inside, and inside his MRI is a man, a woman, a dog, a camera, a TV. Oh, God, it's amazing. A preventative MRI, from what I've read, most people think that there might be something wrong with him, or he's taking some sort of medication of some kind that would require them to keep an eye on him in certain ways.
Yeah, you don't get a checkup. They're trying to paint this as an executive checkup. I never heard of an executive checkup. But I do know that, like,
you got to pay more at the car wash.
Right? I've got a good job. Can I get the good checkup?
I will vacuum between the cheeks. Like, what are you talking about?
What?
We going to wax it too?
I got one of those monthly passes. I can do this. And if it rains, you give me another MRI.
You're going to hang a fucking a Christmas tree on his ear after he's done. Get the fuck out of here.
An executive fucking checkup.
It's like 4 different colors of soap. That's it. And then,
you get the fucking, I got turtle wax. That was pretty good. I thought I was going to get a bikini wax. I got turtle wax.
There's just one guy spinning a buffer on him just the whole time. Ridiculous.
You don't get a preventative MRI. I've never heard of a fucking, I'm not a fucking doctor talking guy.
I didn't go to Upstairs Medical College.
But I'm fucking 47 years old, and I get a checkup every year, and it never involves a goddamn MRI.
Yeah. It's pretty, I would imagine that, and like, the thing about an MRI, I don't know a lot about doctoring stuff, and I'm not going to say I know a lot about doctoring stuff, but someone could correct me too, because maybe there's somebody who reads MRIs or knows about MRIs in our audience. I'd be happy to hear. But is there just like a general MRI? I always thought it was like a very focused thing. Like you go in and they're like, hey, we're going to look at your knee. And then they put your knee in there, and then they do the fucking spinny magnet thing. And then they come back and they say, oh, well, this portion of this portion is this. Is there just like I put your body in a tube and I looked at it, I was like, and then I was able to look at all the things I was able to look at. I thought it was a very targeted type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've had 3 MRIs. So I had an MRI for my back, my neck, and my shoulder. Every time I've gotten an MRI, it's because there was a problem and we were looking to see what the problem was to try to figure out how to fix the fucking problem. So, like, that is true. You don't, like, typically you would suspect something or want to rule something out or want to find the source of a problem. That's what MRIs do.
That's my experience with MRIs. Yeah. I'm not saying that there isn't a executive level MRI scanner.
I got a pretty good job When I get a checkup, they don't fucking give me a different checkup, bro.
Here's your key to the executive washroom.
Yeah, I do.
Here's your key to the executive MRI machine. After you take a particularly large shit, you go lay in the MRI machine for a few minutes, see if it took anything it shouldn't have with it.
Right? Oh, my God. Perfectly normal. Man, woman, dog, MRI.
God, it's so funny. It's so funny. And the thing is like genuinely, they photographed him yesterday with a big bandage on his hand. Yeah. He's been trying to hide that forever, right? He's been trying to hide that forever. Now he's just literally wearing a bandage on it.
Yeah.
Now at this point, he's just like, fuck it, I can't hide it anymore. I'm just going to wear a big bandage.
We see the pictures of his ankles blown up like balloons.
He's not in the best of health. He's an older gentleman who happens to have a lot of old stuff that happens to your body as you get older. That's just how the body works.
But he's also a guy who very famously believes that your life force is like a battery. And if you work out, you drain the battery.
Yeah.
That is a real thing, guys.
Yeah.
He has really said that's the reason he doesn't exercise is because he thinks that you have a finite, you're a fucking copper top.
Yeah.
That you have a fucking Duracell amount in there. And if you use it all up, you just...
My favorite the other day that somebody was on his golf course. There was a couple of pictures that came back. One of them, you can't tell because it's a still. So he might have just been moving and closing his eyes, but he 100% looks like he's at a table at his own golf course by himself with his mouth wide open and his eyes closed going, He looks like he's 100% out. Like he looks like he's 100% out. And the other thing is, I guess that same day, somebody was like videotaping him, and it certainly was a Trump-like figure.
Yeah.
That was golfing. Probably was Trump. Could be Trump. He fucking shanked the fuck out of that chip. He hit it, and that fucking thing goes whoa. And I mean, it was fucking a dog leg. It was like block. It just ran off this way. He fucking shanked the shit out of it. So I was like, oh, you're not as good as you say you are.
I'll tell you a funny golf thing. I am the world's worst golfer. I golf once a year or less. If I can get away with it less.
Get away with it,
I can get away with it less for work. And like I am not good, but I am not abjectly terrible. Once you're past, what's the first thing you do? After the drive.
Yeah.
So once you start using not the clubs for driving,
the irons,
I can knock the thing around and I can finally get
using
it.
irons. You're good with it. Okay.
I'm okay. Good is strong.
Yeah.
But it's not embarrassing.
Yeah.
But when I go to drive the ball, not one single time ever in my life have I not hit it into the fucking woods at 6,000 miles an hour. I hit the fuck out of it. I can't bend good, so like I don't have very good mobility, so I look like a crazy person. I have this buddy of mine filmed it to tell me what I was doing wrong. I'm like, I can't move my body better than this.
I can't fix that.
Yeah, like I'm not flexible enough to do a full golf swing. So when I hit the ball, every fucking time, Cecil, it goes to the right, like 86 degrees. If you were standing too close to me, you could get hit.
Top Golf?
I have gone to Top Golf.
Does it still go that way?
Yeah. You know what I'll do sometimes at Top? I'll turn my whole body like 75 degrees away.
Well, you should do that at the golf
from
course.
what I'm trying to do.
You should do
some reason it doesn't work as well at the golf cars, and it's a little embarrassing.
Okay.
At Top Golf, people are drunk, so I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, okay.
But like at work.
Hey, newsflash, at the golf course, they're also drunk.
I wait for them. See, what I like is, so once you get past a certain end, everyone's drinking, and then I just stop golfing and nobody notices.
Oh, that's perfect.
I just drive the cart around.
That's awesome. That's
smoke a cigar, make jokes.
That's what you got to do next time.
And I just stop golfing.
What you do next time is tell the guy, be like, hey, man, I'm not going to golf. Why don't you take my swing?
Yeah, well, at some point, sometimes they don't even notice you're not golfing. And I'll just put it down a 4 for me. They don't even notice you. They don't
even
care.
See your ball there. That's
Nobody
awesome.
cares. Everybody.
Tell them I'm 6 over par every hole.
Every hole.
Just be like, yeah, I'm 6 over par this hole.
I've been telling the kids.
You can give up every hole. You can forfeit every hole.
Oh, I'll forfeit them all right now.
That's what you do right now.
I'm forfeiting the next 5 years worth of holes.
Just forfeit. Every time be like, yeah, I forfeit.
I declare bankruptcy.
If you're going to prosecute war crimes, you better make sure that more than one man takes the blame for everything.
All right, more somber news. PBS.
Yikes.
What the law says about killing survivors of a boat strike.
Oof.
According to experts. So,
let me just summarize the experts.
Yeah.
It's bad.
You can't do it.
It's real bad. It's real bad. It's like, hold on, war crime, I think is what they said.
Crime.
They said it was a war crime to do that.
I don't remember which news podcast I was listening to. So I'm going to say it was either The Daily, Slate, The Journal, or Vox. Probably one of those 4. They were talking about this issue. And the guy that they had on, who was like a JAG officer guy. So the JAG is like the judge advocate generals.
Yeah.
Those are the law talking guys for the military, right?
Good grip on those JAGs.
I got to get them off. There's a whole.
They get you off.
It is like, and he said it's literally textbook that you can't do this.
100% a war crime.
And when he said it's textbook,
it's a war crime. If you're in boot camp, it's a war crime.
But when he said it's textbook, what he means is that literally in the textbook, the example that is used is about not firing on shipwrecked sailors.
Yeah, what you don't do is that. Yeah.
Like, it's everything but off of the coast of Venezuela at the end of the question.
It's amazingly 100% a war crime.
You can't do this.
You can't get more war crime than this war crime.
Dude,
it's literally in the definition of war crime. It is the definition of war crime. Yes.
And like, I read just today that like the admiral who gave the orders is going to testify in a closed hearing of Congress. But what he's going to say, his position is, after the first strike, which you can watch, it's grotesque, but you can watch it because Trump tweeted it out. After the first strike, the two people clinging to flotsam and jetsam in the Caribbean Sea were continuing their aggression against the United States. They were continuing to try to smuggle drugs into. They were injured and clinging to fucking a missile-struck vessel. And he's going to say they continued to pose a threat.
What I want people to pay attention to, this is so important, is that we learned from Bannon to sort of what is wording? Flood the zone. Flood the zone is the way they say it. And what that means is throw so much shit out there that they can't focus on one thing.
Right.
And that they have to report it all, and then it all loses meaning. Right. So that's been the strategy of Trump forever, is flood the zone. I want you to pay attention to the real important stuff, though, that is like the thing that even the like some far right people can't get behind. And some of that is like this.
Is this stuff,
right?
yeah.
So, and when something like this happens, what Trump will do is have a tweet storm, which we will talk about later.
Yeah.
He will have, he will say certain things, like he will make a declaration that is absurd, like, everything Biden did with autopen, I will now take back.
Right.
Because you can't use an autopen. He didn't use an autopen correctly, and I'm going to take it back. That means has no standing. He can't do that. It's literally impossible for him to do. But he will say it because he wants to take the heat off of this particular thing. And you can tell when he doesn't want to talk about something is he's admonished, and he will immediately push the blame on someone. I didn't do it. I don't know what happened. You'll have to find somebody else. It's his job to know what happened.
Yeah, the buck stops there, man.
It's 100% his job. If he didn't know what happened, why is he tweeting it out? Why is he tweeting out a video if you don't know what happened? He has to know what happened. It's his job to know what happened. It's appalling that he doesn't know what happened. And for him to say you have to talk to somebody else is seriously the most cowardly act you could possibly imagine a president to ever have. A president should never say, well, that you have to talk to so-and-so. I don't know anything about it. That's a somebody who shouldn't be in that job and is a coward. Those are those two things. Those two things are married. But you got to pay attention to some of these things that happen, and we can't let them fall away. You can't let them get caught up in the zone. You can't let these things get pushed aside for the next outrage thing. This is one of those things that is, it's a war crime. He's committing war crimes. Hegseth is committing war crimes.
Yes.
These people are choosing to do this sort of thing. And after it's all over, when everything, hopefully somehow we get a cog in the right space and things start to flip back normal, these people need to pay for these things in a serious way. Like Hegseth seriously needs to spend some time in jail for doing this. This is a crime that he should have to pay for.
Well, and even Hegseth now is trying to say, I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
They're trying to, what they're going to do is throw this fucking admiral.
Message. Well, check his signal message. See if you can find it.
Just call the Atlantic reporter.
I'm sure he told his wife about it.
Yeah, call the Caribbean reporter you put on there, actually. It was not in the right sea. They're going to throw this admiral under the bus is what they're going to do.
Of course they are.
But like, no. Because like, hey, buddy, you're the fucking Secretary of War now. And hey, chuckle fuck, you're the Commander-in-Chief.
Also, fuck that admiral.
Oh, I know.
You should 100% be like, eat a fucking giant bag of dicks. I ain't shooting them again.
Yeah.
Fuck you forever.
Yep.
That's not happening.
That's it.
that admiral needs to eat shit too.
That admiral needs to go.
That admiral needs to go, period. If you're willing to fucking double up on that, fuck you. Get out.
And like, let's not lose sight too of the initial strike against that boat. This boat in particular had turned around. It was, first of all, they were never a threat, right? Second of all, there's really no legal justification that anybody can create to make any of this okay.
It's a war crime with war crime topic.
That's exactly it, man.
Yeah.
All of this is a nightmare wrapped in a nightmare wrapped in a nightmare.
It's like
a fucking Pan's Labyrinth.
It's like it's a war crime burrito.
Yeah, it is.
Like 100%. It's all war crimes.
7-layer fucking war crime.
It's a war crime fucking burrito. Like, it's unbelievable how much they're willing to stack in here. But you can tell that this is one of those things that they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And they want to separate themselves from it. So you can't let them do it.
It's amazing what happens when you have people who are this fucking incompetent trying to cover their shit.
That's the real key and that's the thing you have to remember is they're both malicious and incompetent, right? And that's the thing is a lot of people, a while back we had sent a message out and we had said, hey, when do you leave the United States? When is it a point? When you leave the United States? And I read all the messages that came in, and there was some that came in that said it was already too late. It's already too late. Now, those were mostly from people who are already gone.
Right.
So like those people are already gone. But like there was some that people that were planning on leaving, they're like, we're going to leave soon. Other people, I got a couple messages from people that were like, fuck that, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
There was a range of messages, what I had expected, which was, there's a range of messages. Some people saying it's way too late. Some people saying it's not too late now. Other people saying I'm never leaving and I shouldn't leave. A couple people said I saw one person, I think said that it was selfish to leave. And I thought, I don't know that I agree with that. I think like people fight the battles that they can fight. I don't expect people to fight a battle that they're not capable of fighting or that they're not going to help in. I don't think that that's a useful thing.
I struggle with that.
I don't know that I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think that there is definitely like I feel personally like I don't want to go anywhere because I want to make sure that I'm here. And I want to do everything I can to not make sure that this country doesn't fall deeper into authoritarianism.
Sure. Yeah.
It's already there, but I don't want it to follow deeper into authoritarianism. But really, the Hegseth and Trump are incompetent, right? So
Absolutely.
They're incompetent. They're also malicious. But I think like no matter what, they're never going to stop fucking up. And they're never going to stop fucking up in ways that are unbelievably awful.
Yeah.
Right? So they're going to always fuck up in these awful ways. But I do think their incompetence is a good thing. I think their incompetence, even though they're completely incompetent, they could be waging a bigger war than this right now.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
They could be choosing a different target.
Yeah.
They could be doing this against other people. They could be doing it at their own people.
Yeah.
Right? But they're fuck ups. And they can't even do this right. They're absolutely terrible at their job, and they're also bad people. And I think that is going to be combining to create these moments that you hold on to and try to make them pay for, and hopefully derail their whole presidency based on this particular action. You could feasibly get rid of him because of this.
You could. We should be able to.
It would be an impeachable offense under many, many other presidencies.
If we had it would be an impeachable offense if we had a functioning legislative body.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's not the case.
But who knows? We might get one. Right?
Yeah,
There's a possibility.
That's possible. 2026, we could have a functioning legislative body.
You saw the latest polls that came back from Tennessee, where the special election there, they lost something like 20 points.
Yeah.
It was an intense loss.
Huge
The Republican won, but he won by a tiny margin in comparison to Trump's plus 20 or something like that.
It was way closer than it had any right to be. Yeah.
Five big boom, 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 boom,
This story comes from NBC News. Costco sues the Trump administration seeking a refund of tariffs. The wholesaler is the latest company to sue a federal agency over the president's signature economic policy. Good.
I think that there's some companies out there that didn't capitulate to Trump.
Yeah.
And that are standing up to him. And Costco is one of those places.
Since day one.
I am happy to be a member there. I bought it when I found out that they didn't destroy their DEI policy. When they just said, no, we're not going to do that. They voted on it. And they said, no, we're not going to do it. I was like, that next day, I went to Costco and was like, yep, I'm going to become a member.
Fuck yeah.
I was like, yep, this is where I'm going to shop. if I get, and I don't shop there all the time because it's actually really hard as a couple. Like Sarah and I are just a couple. Yeah. It's really hard for us to shop there because like when you go there, you buy bulk items. Like the bread is like the size of the cart. You're like, come on, what am I going to do with that much bread?
I got a 55-gallon drum of ketchup, honey.
But I will go there and buy the apples that I need. I'll buy a thing of strawberries. I'll, buy their booze. Their booze is good. I'll buy,
I buy meat from there.
I buy meat from there. So I'll buy some eggs is great because Sarah and I go through a lot of eggs. Yeah. So it's great to buy eggs from there. I buy my my oat milk from there. So there's like some things there's certain staples that I buy there. There's other stuff that I'm just like, there's no way I'm going to eat 700 cupcakes. Like how can I, like even if I wanted to, and I want to, I can't eat that many cupcakes.
600 is my limit.
There's a certain point.
I can't go past 6. After 6, maybe 605.
I really like, once in a while I'll walk by and be like, oh, I like that hoodie. And I'll grab a hoodie from there.
They got like clothes and shit
some
that
of
are
their
nice.
Clothes, I'm like, that's pretty great. Yeah. I'm like, I like that. I bought a pair of jogging pants from there that are like thin. I'm like, I like these.
See, I got 6 people in my house.
Oh, yeah.
I have the problem of like, if I go to Costco, 1, that's my whole day now.
Yeah, yeah.
And 2, that's my mortgage payment now.
It's so expensive.
Like, it's so expensive. Like, I have 6 people in the house. I walk through Costco. I'm like, I might have 2 carts. I might have a forward cart and a cart I'm trailing behind me. Like it's fucking like I got a caboose cart.
It's like those the Duggars when they go out and there's like 40 carts. There's like a whole convoy of carts they have to run through Costco.
What do those people drive? Oh, those fucking people are weird. What do those people drive? God, those people are so weird. You can't have so many kids that you're like, yeah, they don't actually make passenger vehicles for all these people. Like that's weird, man.
You should see the size of their shoe they live in. It's crazy.
Is it a small place? Can you imagine? What house do you buy? Hey, do you have a 21-bedroom house? We need a guest room.
There are a couple of companies, though, that like after everything happened, I stopped going to. Target is one of them.
Yeah, I don't go to Target ever again.
I have not been back to Target.
Fuck Target.
I used to go there all the time. Sarah and I used to go there, if we needed like certain, not food, because we didn't.
Like household items.
But it was almost always any household item I needed. I would admit the first thing I would think is, oh, let's go to Target. I have not been back since this is over a year.
Yeah.
When I found out last year, they're canceling some of the policies. They're like, good. We're done.
Awesome.
I won't ever go back to
Never coming back.
And you can tell that it's actually hurt them. They literally went after the demographic that was going to keep them afloat. They went after that demographic. And you're like, the other people don't want to shop there. Yeah. So like the Republicans were already going to go to Walmart. They had already beaten you out.
Yep.
Why would you do that? And they were like, no, we're going to change. It's like, well, you're stupid.
You're dumb as hell.
Enjoy being stupid.
And look what it's done to their stock price.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's not done good things for their revenue. It's not done good things for their stock price.
Intelligence has been edited, redacted, and reduced.
The story's from Snopes. FBI paid nearly $1 million in overtime to redact Epstein files, according to documents, which is true. Snopes checked this out.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did. They spent a little over $800,000 in overtime alone for people to go through and redact the Epstein files. And now that'll be important for another story that we're going to talk about. But like, I thought about this. It never occurred to me, Cecil, how much work, just labor force goes into redaction. Never occurred to me until this article. And then I thought, well, then you've got this whole team of people that knows all the stuff that got redacted. There's all these people walking around.
Don't they have the original documents too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those all exist.
So you got the original documents.
The original documents still exist.
Presumably they make copies.
Which hopefully they will just release after Trump is out.
Hopefully.
Unredacted.
I hope so too. Yeah, I hope so too.
I hope that the first thing the next person who gets into office does is says, well, we didn't need to do that. Let's just release this.
The only thing we're going to redact is victim information.
Yeah, victim information. And that's already been redacted. Although in some cases it hasn't. We'll
not
talk
as well
about
as it should have been. Yeah.
But we're just gonna take all these original documents. We're not gonna do anything with Trump's name, and we're gonna leave them all in.
Here you go, dumbass.
There you go. Yeah. I hope somebody does that.
I do too,
I
man.
hope somebody does that. Yeah.
I do too. I think, why not do it?
Yeah.
What is the harm?
What's the harm?
Just here you go. Oh, you guys want true stuff? Here's true stuff.
Here's your true stuff. You can dig into it now.
But I do you picture? I picture like a boiler room of fucking FBI agents in suits with black markers, and just this like silent room full of dudes. Yeah. Squeak.
I hope in the front there's like one headmaster making sure they work the whole time. Be fucking amazing.
Do they
Cash
have like
Patel in his little jumpsuit in the front with like a fucking ruler in his hand.
Because like a lot of things I thought were like, I don't know, there's a bunch of weird shit that occurred to me when I read this. I just, again, I didn't I guess I just never thought about the labor that goes into it. And then I thought overtime. So the FBI's hourly? Like you're an hourly employee if you're overtime? It never occurred to me. I guess cops are hourly.
Yeah.
But then like you're an FBI agent, and you're just an hour, not just, but you're an hourly employee.
I would imagine you would want to be an hourly employee if you work for any law enforcement because of those weird hours that once in a while you get dropped in and you have to work.
It makes all the sense in the world. It just never
60 hours in a row or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Just never even occurred to me.
Yeah, you would think they'd be salary.
Right. Well, I guess part of it is like I've never been hourly since I was like a teenager. Like I've not had an hourly job.
Yeah.
So it just didn't even occur to me. But then I'm like, oh man, he's got all these guys like sitting around. And then like, do they have a list of things they're looking for? Because I thought computers would do this.
Yeah, you would think that you would be able to just scan these documents and then say, look for Trump.
Right.
And then it would look for Trump.
Here are keywords that we're looking for. Because otherwise you have to train everybody on what they have to redact.
The only thing that I could think is that some things are harder for computers to optical text recognition on a computer sometimes might not catch some things. So like if you have let's say Epstein had an actual typed document or somebody printed something out and then you scanned it, sometimes the text isn't as readable by the computer, but anything that was created electronically, you should 100% just be able to type in, find Trump, delete Trump. I wonder if they're looking for like P-Boy or, Golden Shower Man or something like that.
Yeah,
or
right.
Maybe they have he has a little pet name for him.
Oh,
he's got to find
they got to find the pet names?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. I know like a lot of times when they redact stuff, they'll redact a name, but then they'll leave other stuff where you're like, I know who that is.
Yeah.
You're like, the context clues make this really clear.
I know who Defendant 2 is.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. What did he say? The guy who texted cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know who that
The guy who throws the ketchup. Come on, we know who that is.
Yeah.
Vegan.
Megan.
Megan. How do you spell vegan?
Vegan.
And that says what?
Vegan.
Okay. How do you spell Megan?
Megan.
So what does that say?
Megan.
You flipping twit.
What?
That is Megan.
Megan. All right, anyway.
This story is from the Huffington Post. Epstein survivors believe the DOJ is intentionally exposing their names in the files. Quote, this type of negligence by the government to a survivor is just unable to be comprehended, one victim said, according to the court filing.
Yeah, you're getting people who they think they're sort of punitively their name isn't being redacted, and Trump's name is immaculately being redacted, and we're paying for it in the tune of $800,000 for people to do it, right? But the victims, the people who were actually harmed by all this, some of their names are just going out when nobody gives a shit. And that shows you the incompetence, but also the spitefulness of the Justice Department.
And there's no third reading, right? There's no third reading of this when it happens. You are either incompetent or spiteful.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. What are your other, there's no other option.
Yeah. There is not a third reading. There is no charitable reading of you did not do a good job of redacting victim information. You had a fucking responsibility to redact that. These people, remember, when these crimes occurred, these were children when these crimes occurred. They have an absolute right to their privacy as victims of sex crimes, as minors. They have a right to that privacy. And it doesn't matter that they're not children now.
Yeah.
And to not shield them from additional harm, like some of these folks said, like immediately there were reporters harassing them in the street in front of their children about being a victim. And it's like, there's no charitable reading. It's one of these situations where you want to go to like a MAGA supporter and be like, so is it incompetence or maliciousness?
Yeah, which one is it?
Or float me the third option, Marvin.
Did you see Megyn Kelly after all this stuff broke and the way she was on her show talking about, well, is 15 really that young? Do you remember? Did you see this?
I did see that.
Where they're talking about, well, 15's not 8. Come on.
Yeah, she's like, they're not pedophiles. They just like barely legal teens. And it's like, they're not legal.
No, that's called pedophilia for a reason.
Yeah,
that's,
man.
Somebody who's very, but we're talking about a 50-year-old man.
Right.
And a 15-year-old.
Yep.
That's a huge difference, man.
That's
a terrifying, huge difference.
It is.
That's a crime, bro.
It is.
What the fuck are we talking about? Why are we normalizing that?
Why would you defend this ever?
Yeah.
It like Megyn Kelly's comment was something like, these are teenagers. They're not kids. It's not pedophilia. some men just like barely legal teens. And it's like, first of all, they weren't legal.
Yeah, it's like barely legal means 18.
Barely legal means legal.
For years, in fact, since the days of our glorious revolution, I had no faith in our future. I forged government announcements and falsified figures quoted for agricultural and industrial.
This story comes from CBS News. Trump says he's canceling all Biden orders that were signed using an autopen.
This is something he can't do.
No.
He can't do, and it would never stand up. It's like one of those things that he does to try to blow smoke and to flood the zone.
Yeah, now, Trump does have the authority to cancel executive orders.
Sure.
So
he could do that without saying it as an autopen, though.
But yeah, exactly. Like you could do it for any capricious bullshit reason he wants to. So the idea that he's canceling all of the autopen orders is intended not to cancel the order because the order is a bad order for America, right? It's intended to say, hey, there was a conspiracy. At the time that Biden was president, he was not the guy in charge. His aides were making decisions. Just like this, like autopen is a standard way for things to be signed in the 21st century by the president.
It's also very specifically, if he can create something here that is throwing dust up to make it seem like autopen is bad, then he can go after the people who got pardons with autopens that he wants to go after.
Yeah, he's trying to throw those pardons away.
He can pull those things apart that he wants to. So he wants to go after Liz Cheney. Let's just say Liz Cheney.
Sure.
There's a bunch more, but let's just say Liz Cheney. He wants to go after Liz Cheney. He can't. She got preventively, essentially pardoned for any actions that she did. She didn't do anything, but it was like we pardoned her anyway. Basically protectively pardoned her for all the time that he would try to go after her. So he can't do it. But it was done, according to him, with an autopen. So that means that if he can go after the autopen and he can somehow delegitimize the idea of an autopen, he might be able to chip away at these pardons that are protecting people he really wants to go after and hurt.
Yeah.
And that's literally all he's trying to do. He's trying to kick up that dust to make it seem like there's something wrong with an autopen. There's nothing wrong with it. None of this would ever stand up in court. At least I hope it wouldn't.
Well, the Supreme Court's already weighed in on autopens years ago, and they're like, yeah, that's nothing.
That's
it's fucking
nothing.
fine.
It's stupid.
And like at the end of this article, it also says like, Trump's like, yeah, I sometimes use it, but only for unimportant stuff. I'm sorry, man. You're the president. Are you signing a lot of unimportant stuff?
Yeah.
What are you talking? Like, are you talking about like signing the fucking terms and conditions for your iPhone with an autopen? What are you talking about?
Sign each Bitcoin or whatever. It's not Bitcoin. It's Trump coin.
Trump coin.
It's Trump's coin.
Strump coin.
Smilania.
Smilania. God, you never hear about Smilania anymore or Melania. Like, what is she up to?
You don't hear about Smilania coin either.
Yeah, you don't. No, but they're making billions on crypto.
I don't know. I haven't seen much about her in the past. I don't know. Like, I think that they just sort of like, they float in and out, and once in a while you hear about them, but it's pretty rare you get a chance to hear about him and her. Yep. There was a moment when they were saying there was that back and forth with Epstein in the email that said that we need to get the pictures of Trump blowing Bubba.
Yeah.
Where he grabbed her as a way to say, I'm not gay. I'm 100% heterosexual. This is my heterosexual wife.
This is my normal heterosexual wife. Look at her breasts.
Look at all of this heterosexualness. So I think there was a moment where she was back in the camera because he was under fire for potentially giving fellatio to somebody else, according to a sex predator.
Yeah, I know. We just pause real quick and talk. Like, I know everybody wants to make hay out of these emails, and we should look at them. We should read them. But also remember that Jeffrey Epstein, by all accounts, contemporary accounts when he was alive, was a manipulative, lying piece of shit.
Was a giant liar. He was a giant fucking liar.
You should not read these and be like, oh, there's a true thing. Like, dudes who lie don't say, like, you can't be like, well, fucking Epstein said it. It's got to be true.
Yeah.
Epstein also said, I'm not getting fucking sexy massages by kids, right? But he was.
Yeah.
So you got to take all that shit with the biggest grain of salt.
I feel the same way. And I feel like when somebody's saying something like that, they're talking between two brothers.
Yeah.
And it's like, are they talking about something that happened? It doesn't seem like it. They even came out because everybody was saying it was Clinton because they were saying Clinton was Bubba. But then one of the alive Epstein that's part of that conversation said it wasn't Clinton. So they came out and clarified it wasn't Clinton. It wasn't Clinton.
It wasn't him.
It was somebody else. It was somebody else. Just like, look, I'm not going to believe any of that stuff. All that stuff is it's essentially anything that Epstein said. I just think you throw it all away.
Yeah, unless there is something in there that you can investigate to verify, right?
And how you verify it is through money or through other ways in which you can, and then yes, I'm absolutely down as long as there's a second way to confirm it. But if it's just Epstein saying something like, "Oh my God, what do I mean, like
that's nothing.
Jesus.
It's nothing. You like we have to use this as a springboard to discover true facts. So it might point us in the direction of things, where there's a veracity that has to be, claimed here. Yeah. But like you just read an email and be like, well, I guess Epstein said it. It's got to be true.
I have no friends, and I'm an idiot.
This story is from Huffington Post. Trump launches into massive unhinged late-night posting spree. See, so this is what you were talking about earlier. 160 posts and reshares in one night.
I bet you could count the number of tweets I've ever tweeted, and it would be less than 160.
I
know for sure it's you. I know for sure you.
But I'm thinking, because we did do some live tweeting of like election stuff, like debates and stuff.
Yeah.
So we might have flooded a little bit there. But yeah.
I'm saying personally.
Oh, yeah,
not for the show. I'm saying personally.
Personally?
Personally, I'm well under 100. And I would imagine that on Facebook even, I'm under 160 in the last. I would say probably you could probably count my posts as like 160 in probably 4 or 5 years and maybe 160.
Yeah, I don't doubt that a bit.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that a bit. 100 is like, I'm sorry, but like the leader of the country should not be fucking doom scrolling and fucking tweeting out screeds all night. You should be asleep. You're asleep. Look, dude, I get it. To some degree, I get it, right? As a guy who in his life falls asleep involuntarily sometimes, I get it. But you could just go to bed and not tweet out and doom scroll, you fucking weirdo. What are you, a teenage girl on TikTok?
I also feel like he is somebody who probably should be above all of this.
Yes.
You should have somebody who's your communication team, not you, who are doing certain things, and he's just in a tweet storm. It's a truth storm, whatever that is.
But then all that stuff goes to Twitter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, so
right. Because nobody's on truth.
I just want to say, like, I think anybody else doing this, and I literally mean anybody else doing this, that would be looked at in a way that people would say, I'm not sure that that's imagine if a CEO of a company did that.
Well, I'll tell you, we don't have to imagine because Elon Musk does this all the time.
Yeah.
And like a huge number of people understand how unhinged Elon Musk is. I don't think I know there's like fucking Musk apologists and Muscovites or whatever, but like outside of that cadre of bootlicking idiots, I think people understand like that's fucking weirdo behavior.
That's weird and crazy.
Right? That's not the behavior of a serious adult who is trying to be the leader of something. You don't just blow your fucking stupid thoughts out into the world just as you have them. Your microphone's too big, man.
This to me, though, definitely shows me that there is a method to flooding the zone.
Yep.
And that method is when something big happens and something bad happens, flood the zone with whatever you can. And this happens very specifically when he is being accused of these war crimes. And that's when this sort of thing flies up. That's when he's posting all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, I think there's a reason why there's a sort of a guilty conscience tweet storm.
Well, I think it's a technique, like you were saying before. You just throw all the ketchup against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
You know, because if the media seizes on some of that ketchup, then all of a sudden their attention got redirected. So yeah, they're not going to pay attention. You see, had 160 stupid tweets and reshares and everything else, and the media is going to probably cover a small handful, but maybe one of them is the new thing they seize on. And now that's the thing everybody's talking about. And you controlled that narrative.
And that's enough to get you out of the thing that you're currently in. Yeah.
It's pretty smart.
Yeah.
But it's devastating to our democracy.
It's really not great, it turns out.
Yeah.
You see, we're putting the cover sheets on all TPS reports now before they go out.
This story is from NBC News. Justice Department weighs charging James Comey again without Lindsey Halligan as the main prosecutor.
Well, what happened with Lindsey Halligan, Tom? Do you remember this?
Yeah, she's not actually a prosecutor.
Good.
Yeah. The court was like, that's not how you do this.
It was amazing.
No.
She totally messed up on a really easy procedural thing. Law talking people can tell you better about what it is, but essentially the way the indictment was handed down was incorrect.
Right.
And the other people were like, hey, yeah, that's really amateur hour shit. And the judge was like, yeah, you're probably right. Let's just get rid of it. And they got rid of both.
Yep, tossed them.
Her and Letitia James.
Well, they said too that she was improperly appointed.
Yeah.
So she's not even like, she's appointed as an interim prosecutor. And the judge was like, you don't really work here.
You're not even a temp.
Right. Yeah. So like, just fucking no, you can't do this. Also, the statute of limitations is up.
Yeah.
So it's debatable, and then the courts will figure it out. It's debatable whether there's even an ability to reindict James Comey, because the statute of limitations was like 5 days from being up when the first indictment was filed. And the indictment was like, okay, well, indict him and figure out what it's about later.
Yeah.
And the courts even were like, hey, you can't do that. What is any of this?
And the reason why they're doing this is very specifically to placate Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They're only doing this. No serious person would do this.
No, there's serious people literally quit.
Yeah, there's not a serious person that would do this. And we know that because not a serious person put their fucking name on this, right? So there's not a serious person at the Justice Department who would bother to do it. What they decided to do was try to placate him. They handed it down. She shouted it out and no one would take it. Bondi shouted out, do this. Somebody needs to do this. And everybody in the room was just whistling and looking at the ground the whole time. And then finally, somebody who is a sycophant said, I'll do it. And then they said, well, you're not qualified and you also don't work here.
Right. Pam Bondi's walking around. Prosecutor says what?
God, I hope, it is my sincere hope that the people who are at the top of all these things, after this is all over, seriously have to answer for some of the gross abuses of power that they've been doing. I want to see the puppy killer get her comeuppance after this is all over. I want to see Pam Bondi get some comeuppance. I want to see Pete Hegseth get some comeuppance. RFK Jr., I want to see him.
Yeah, these people need to eat some shit.
I want to see these people genuinely have to deal with the consequences of the things that they've done in this administration after it's all over. And I want to see them not protected, and I want to see them have to pay a price for some of the severe the crimes, essentially the crimes they're committing. Because to go after somebody and to weaponize the Justice Department needs somebody to tell you to do it, but it also needs somebody to follow those orders. And the people who follow those orders need to pay a price after this is all over. And if you picked up the pen to help wield it against someone else based on the orders of Trump, I want to see you pay for it after all this is over.
If we don't do that, it has the same effect of not prosecuting somebody for the war crimes you talked about earlier.
Everything has to be, there needs to be an accounting after this is all over.
100%.
There needs to be an accounting, and people need to spend some serious time in jail, and they need to spend some serious time losing assets and also possibly never, ever being involved in public office again. Those are things that genuinely need to happen to these people who have caused this much damage. Because what I don't want to see is Kristi Noem, after this is all over, go back to becoming a governor someday.
No, I know.
I don't want to see that happen.
I'm worried about that too.
I want to see somebody, maybe lead her into a small pit somewhere.
Well, yeah.
That's what I want to see happen. Yeah.
Because if we don't do that, what we have done is we've uncovered the tools that we can all use at our choice to destroy our democracy.
Somebody needs to pay for all this stuff. And when you inflict damage on all the immigrants in the country, and you cause all that kind of, anybody who died in your custody because of your neglect, that shit should roll uphill to you.
1,000,000,000%.
It should roll uphill. Yep. So if somebody died, or we hurt somebody in those ways that they've been causing this distress with immigration, every single one of those charges need to work their way up to her. Yes. And it needs to be her who's paying for it after this is all over.
So that the next guy is scared to do it.
So the next person is like, well, we better dot every I.
Yeah, let's actually follow the fucking law.
Yeah. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week. We'll be back with a funny show on Thursday. We're going to leave you like we always do with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue. It's fortune cookie cutter mommy